everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Doyo Mzalemo and welcome to another episode of Insightful Fridays. So as you can see, the background has changed, the couch has changed. That's because I'm at home. I'm gonna be here for like a while. You will notice that I didn't upload this Monday, Entertainment Mondays. It's because I've been busy with preparing for this wedding that's gonna take place this upcoming weekend, and I'm busy. See, if you hear a cow mooing at the back, or if you hear a chicken quack, you gotta understand I'm from the villages. So let's get into the video. So today on Insightful Fridays, we are talking about, it's funny because there's gonna be a wedding happening. So when I sat down and thought about this, one thing came to mind of what I was gonna talk about today was that there was this one time a friend of mine was pregnant, and she had a baby shower, doing a baby shower for her. And I just saw with the pictures that she was pregnant and they were throwing her baby shower, and I kept wondering why wasn't I invited? I don't know, my heart, it ached that I wasn't invited. And from that point on, I started disciplining myself. Why did you feel like you had to be invited? Why did you feel like you had to be included? Inclusivity is not for everyone. And the people that were throwing the baby shower, they knew her circle, and they knew that I was not part of her circle. So why did I feel a certain way? So it made me come up to this topic, which says, when friends don't invite you to their parties. So let's get into the video. Number one, I guess what people need to understand with these things is that parties, I think, are intimate spaces where friends and families and couples get to bond and form deeper bonds, and but get to be social with each other, socialize with each other. And when you're not invited to the party, now do you have to feel a certain way? I think yes, it's very fair for you to feel a certain way if you're not invited to a party. I think it's very important to come to a realization of places where you are needed and places where you are not needed. Okay, when people don't get invited to places, they tend to vilify the person who did not invite them, or vilify the people that went there because you weren't particularly invited. It's very important to know that when you're not invited to someone's party, well, you're not in the circle. I had to break it to you, but you're not in the circle. And because if a person knows you and they care about you, they will know just to invite you to their party, and they will know to invite you to their social gathering that they have. I think people should look at, when you're not invited to a gathering, just look at the space. Was the space conducive for you, or was the space in relation with what you believe in and who you are? Because we may sometimes feel bad that we weren't invited to certain places, but we fail to recognize if those places resonate with who we are. We fail to realize that the spaces in which we were not invited at do not have a certain value that they add to us, or do not have a certain relation into who we are and who we want to become. Sometimes a person will not invite you to a party because they know that people will be drinking, and you're a non-drinker and you hate alcohol, and you hate drugs and substance abuse, you hate all of that, and they not invite you. And then you feel bad that you're not invited, but the space wasn't conducive for you to thrive in that environment. Being invited to parties is that sometimes you get invited to a party and you don't have a great time. The one thing that people should understand about this is that sometimes your friends are gonna invite you to a party, and you just exclude yourself, and you become self-absorbed, and you do not have a good time. And sometimes people don't like inviting people who are not gonna have fun with them, because you would ask your friends why you are not invited to a certain party, and they will tell you that every time we invite you to a party, you just seem to not have a great time. So we saw that maybe we shouldn't invite you, because when we invite you, it seems like we're torturing you, because we're forcing you to like have like be at a time and a space where you do not feel comfortable like being yourself. So another thing, it's very important to know your friends. All right, it's very important to know your friends, because when you know your friends, you're not gonna feel bad whether or not they invite you to a certain place or they don't. All right, you should know your certain type of friends. You know, if you don't understand it, I think it's very important that you categorize your friends. The friends that you have a good time with, the friends that you can confide in, the friends that you're like, you are free to be like everything around them. Because that's the thing, we think that we have friends that like going to parties, when we have friends who like to stay indoors. So it's very important to know that also, because I think when people go out to socialize, like that's their love language, like expressing themselves socially and having a great time. That's when they feel that they love themselves. And maybe your love language is staying indoors and doing something intimate, something small, something that is not too loud. Maybe that's your love language. And I think that it's very important to know the kind of friends that you have, because if you know the kind of friends that you have, you're not going to feel a certain type of way if you're not invited to the gatherings that they have from time to time. And some parties are just not for you, because you'd go to a place and be ridiculed and be treated bad, and you will not have a great time. Sometimes it's bad. I think it's best to know yourself and know what kind of behavior that you can tolerate, because if you tolerate the behavior that is at a tavern, then maybe that's, you can tolerate that. But if you can tolerate the energy that is at a restaurant is kind of like a more formal place, like where people like get to eat and have conversations and all the stuff. So it's very important to know yourself and know which energy and behavior you can tolerate, because when you are at a local tavern, there's certain type of behavior that is gonna happen there, and that certain type of behavior may not be what resonates with who you are. So it's very important to know yourself and like know what you can tolerate and what you cannot tolerate. So in closing, I'm gonna say that do not be mad when friends don't invite you to their parties. I think it's just a signal that you're no longer needed in the circle, and I think it's a hint that I'm not gonna invite you in any of my gatherings, and that should be like okay. And like, I don't need you to know certain types of my life, certain parts of my life. And if your relationship with your friend was like personal and you knew personal stuff, and they start not to tell you anything, just take that as a sign that you no longer need it, and just move on with your life without throwing a tantrum, or maybe feeling a certain way, or maybe saying certain type of things. So thank you so much for watching my video, and thank you so much for joining me today on another episode of Insightful Fridays. Please make sure that you like and subscribe, it helps the channel. And I'm gonna see you probably next week. I don't know if Entertainment Mondays is gonna be, but I can promise you that I am gonna have Insightful Fridays next week. So good night. Oh my gosh, have a great weekend.